The man we know today as Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955, in the city of Chicago. After being put up for adoption by his birth parents, he was taken in by Paul and Clara Jobs. It wasn't until after Steve's troubled childhood where he met the future co-founder of Apple Computers, Steve Wozniak.
You've just seen some pictures of Macintosh. Now I'd like to show you Macintosh in person. All of the images you are about to see on the large screen will be generated by what's in that bag.
As they both soon realized, together they both shared an interest for electronics, which in the not-so-distant future would flourish into what we now know as Apple Computers. After merely one semester in attendance to Reed College in Portland, Oregon, Steve felt his charisma and drive was needed elsewhere, so he dropped out. After Jobs left college, he returned home and began working for a gaming company, Atari. Meanwhile, Steve Wozniak was in the process of making a circuit board which would turn out to be the world's first personal computer. Steve Jobs' aspirations for the computer went above and beyond that of Wozniak's. While Steve Wozniak saw it as merely a hobby, Jobs saw it as a profitable business. As of April 1, 1976, Jobs and Wozniak were officially business partners. Apple Computers was born. Just 1 year later, after time and work paid off, Apple released the Apple II. The Apple II had sold 2 million units, primarily in educational facilities. It was now 1980, just 4 years after the business startup, Apple began to offer stock for sale. Within the year, Jobs was worth more than he had ever imagined. After the release of Apple Computers Lisa in 1983, sales began to decline as a cheaper alternative was introduced, the IBM PC.
I mean, Picasso had a saying, he said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." And we have, always been shameless about stealing great ideas.
In hopes to redeem themselves, 1 year later, in 1984, the Macintosh was released, with the mark of the infamous Super Bowl commercial portraying a rebellious message indirectly to the IBMs of the world.
Glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. You created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests, obeying contradictory thoughts. Unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
With Apple sales still flopping, in 1986, Steve Jobs was fired from Apple Computers, the very company he had founded 1 decade before. Feeling very betrayed, Steve went on to purchase what is now known as Pixar from Lucasfilms for over $5 million. Steve was also developing a new operating system known as Next. It was this expensive and advanced operating system that would eventually become known as OS X. As of 1996, Apple rehired Steve Jobs and bought out Next for $429 million.
The last thing I want to show you today is a little bit of the graphics power that's built into NextStep. This is a simple application that was built in 2 days just for demonstration.
As years followed, many advancements ensued, with the introduction of the iMac and soon to follow the entire iSuite. In recent years, Apple has seen much of their success branching out into the MP3 player and cell phone market with the iPod and the iPhone.
The choice we made was music. Now, why music? Well, we love music, and it's always good to do something you love.
Steve Jobs' salary is currently $1 US a year. The end.